All right, guys. So today we're going to do a little video discussing Donald Trump's proposed executive order to kind of take a shot at social media companies who he believes are overstepping their bounds and kind of infringing on people's freedom of speech. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. You've probably heard it talked about on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and everywhere else. Everybody's talking about it. He tweeted out about it yesterday. There is apparently a draft, which I have not seen exactly what is in it. And I do want to make it very, very clear. I am not a fan of executive orders. I don't care which side of the political aisle is doing it. I believe, well, honestly, I believe most executive orders are unconstitutional across the board. So I don't know where this falls in line because I haven't actually seen what it is he's proposing. But we do have a general idea because it has been being discussed, even though a draft of this executive order has not been put out there. It is Thursday. It is the 28th of May, 2020. They're saying today he might sign this executive order. And at this point, I still haven't seen exactly what it does. But we do need to discuss this because if you've been a subscriber to my channel for a while, you probably know a lot of what I'm about to say. If not, maybe this will be a little bit educational for you. But essentially what is going on is Donald Trump is trying to take the FCC Section 230, which is this kind of Internet Provider Protection Act from back in 1996 when the Internet was this very, very new thing. And he's trying to use the guidelines set therein in that section to say that social media companies cannot pick and choose what types of content they allow on their platforms, or the way the Section 230 actually calls it, they are considered providers. Today we would call them platforms. In 1996 they just said providers, but it's the same thing. So he's trying to use that to say that they can't do this, that they can't stifle freedom of speech on their platforms because they have certain protections under this FCC Act, this Section 230. Therefore, if they violate that, then they no longer get these protections. I've talked about this many times on my shows, in videos, and it absolutely is true. If you read it, which we will, you will see that basically what places like Twitter, YouTube, not so much Facebook, but a little bit, what a lot of these social media companies are doing by picking and choosing what types of entertainment, what types of political content, what types of, just cultural content that they allow on their platforms, that they actually are violating Section 230. They are not doing business in a way that would allow them those protections that they were allowed. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. This is a CNN article. Trump is set to announce an executive order against social media companies, right? That's the tagline here. It says President Donald Trump is set to announce an executive order against social media companies on Thursday, days after Twitter called two of his tweets potentially misleading. I'm not going to get into his tweets and whether they are or aren't misleading. I think the man tweets way too much, and there's way too much bloviation and exaggeration in pretty much everything he does. And I find it ridiculous, and I'm not a fan of it, so I'm not going to go into whether or not his tweets are potentially misleading. It says the draft executive order being prepared by the Trump administration tests the boundaries of the White House's authority, and maybe it does, because, again, most executive orders aren't constitutional. That's not to say what he's trying to do might not fall in the letter of the law, but it's just that maybe he shouldn't be the one doing it via executive order. Maybe there should be another way to get it done. Although, I will be honest, with Congress being full of Democrats who will always oppose him, even if what he's trying to propose is completely constitutional, what else is he going to do? I don't know. It says in a long shot legal bid, not a long shot, by the way, it seeks to curtail the power of large social media platforms by reinterpreting a critical 1996 law that shields websites and tech companies from lawsuits. It's not reinterpreting anything. Let's look at what it actually says, because actually if you go into their article, they pick and choose little lines and excerpts from this U.S. Code Section 230 to back their point, but they don't give you the whole thing. Says the rapidly developing array of internet and other interactive computer services available to individual Americans represents an extraordinary advance in the ability of educational and informational resources for our citizens. And it's going to go on to basically say what we want to do is make sure that these providers, these platforms, they don't have to worry about the content on their servers, on their websites or whatever, because people should be allowed to post whatever they want, to put up whatever they want, and those people should be responsible for what they post. And so therefore you shouldn't get any backdraft or whatever. Like you're not going to suffer any damages because people aren't going to be able to go and sue you as a platform because of something somebody posted. It says the internet and other interactive computer services offer a form of true diversity of political discourse, unique opportunities for cultural development, and a myriad of avenues for intellectual activity. That pretty much covers everything. It covers everything. When you think about that, political discourse, opportunities for cultural development, avenues for intellectual activity, that covers everything. That covers conspiracy theories. That covers politicians lying about their opponents, if that's what they want to post, whatever it is. Period. What you're seeing right here covers everything. Okay? So they enjoy the protections of being able to not ever be sued for anything that somebody posts on their platforms, as long as they allow for free political discourse and cultural development and intellectual activity. Okay? It says the internet and other interactive services have flourished to the benefit of all Americans with a minimum of government regulations. Increasingly, Americans are relying on interactive media for a variety of political, educational, cultural, and entertainment services. Okay, it says to promote the continued development of the internet and other interactive computer services. Okay, goes on to say their protections are basically going to cover the fact that they don't get sued. It says no provider or user of an interactive computer services shall be treated as a publisher or speaker of any of this information provided another information content provider. Period. Basically what it says is I can post some ridiculous crap on YouTube and YouTube cannot be held responsible for it. Or I can post it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It can be the most offensive, obscene, whatever kind of thing there is. Okay, it can be blatantly false, where I'm accusing another person of a crime, something that maybe I would suffer consequences for in a civil court, you know, for whatever it may be. I can be blatantly lying, whatever it is. They will never be held responsible for anything I post on their platforms, okay? So they enjoy this protection. But of course, the stipulation is that they allow for this free activity of political discourse and cultural development and entertainment and education and all this other stuff and diverse opinions. They allow for those things, and in return, the federal government, we the people through the powers of the federal government, okay, protect their ability to not get sued. That's what Section 230 is about, period. Point blank. It's what CNN won't tell you. So the minute that these companies start picking and choosing what type of content they allow on their servers, they have made that decision that they are no longer a platform or a provider. Okay? They are, according to this document, which they are using to protect themselves, they have now become a publisher, because they are curating that content and allowing what does or does not go on their platforms. Therefore, they lose this protection. They lose the protection to not get sued for the content on their platforms, period. Okay? It's a very, very simple choice for them. Okay? Leave the content alone, let people post what they want, and they get protected. Start being a publisher, start curating this content, okay? Start allowing and disallowing what you do and don't want on your platform, and then you're a publisher. And guess what? You can get sued. And considering the amount of content that gets posted on a Twitter or a Facebook or a YouTube daily, okay? That's a lot of lawsuits every single day. These companies cannot afford it. They simply cannot afford to be sued thousands of times a day because somebody decided to sue them for some random thing that somebody posted online. So they enjoy these protections a lot. So what will happen is if this executive order goes through and he removes that protection from them, they then have a decision to make. Okay, do we say, all right, fine, we will curate our website, we will publish, we will be a publisher, and we will determine what content is on our website. And then not only do they have to decide what type of content is on their website that they don't agree with, then they have to decide and examine and go through every little bit of content on their website that not just they don't agree with, but that they might get sued over. And that means they have to be very, very rigorous in determining what type of content is allowed on their platforms. And that will essentially kill them as a platform, period. People will stop going to a website where you have to jump through all these hoops just to post your stupid cat video or meme or whatever it is, right? It will destroy their companies. The other choice is to just go, okay, well, we like the protection, so post whatever you want. We're going to stop curating content. We're going to stop, getting in there and making determinations on what people can and can't post. And that's the end result that we, the people, should be looking for from them. They put their services out there as a provider, as a platform, okay? And in doing so, in allowing free speech on their platforms, okay, we, the people, through the powers of the federal government, we give them protections against lawsuits. I think that's a fair trade. The minute they break that bond that we have, that deal that we've struck with them, They should no longer get those protections that we, the people, through the powers of the federal government, provide to them. It's really simple. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. Okay? Any platform or provider out there that starts to do this, well, you've broken the deal. You've broken your end of the deal. We, the people, by posting content on the internet, didn't break our end of the deal. We're giving you something for allowing us to post whatever we want, to talk about politics, to talk about education, just random entertainment, cultural ideas, intellectual ideas, things that you might not agree with. Maybe it's conspiracy theories. Maybe it's, make America great again, or maybe it's, hashtag, I had 27 abortions, or whatever it is. You don't get to decide if you want those legal protections by the federal government, period. And that's what we're talking about here. And that is what CNN will not tell you about what Donald Trump is trying to do.